D's New World Horologium. Horologium is an instrument used for telling time. We get our word hour from the Greek word horo. Inspired by the Roman architect Vitruvius, here is what Dee writes about architecture. The architect's work must be solidly based on the principles of geometry, arithmetic, optics, music, astronomy, cosmography, indeed all the mathematical arts. By optics, I mean the lights of the heavens are well led in the buildings from certain quarters of the world. Hey, this sounds a lot like the alignments that Professor Penhallow discovered in the tower. Dee goes on. As for astronomy, the architect must know east, west, south, and north, the design of the heavens, the equinoxes, the solstices, and the course of the stars. Anyone who lacks knowledge of these matters will be unable to understand the art of horology. Dee combined the word horo, auto, and metri, measurement, to coin a word called horometry, about which he writes, "Horometry is a mathematical art which demonstrates how, for any given location, the exact designation of time may be known. In antiquity, part of this art was called mnemonica. More recently, it was called horologiographia, and in English, it is called dialing. It takes more than a talented painter to prescribe the path of a sun's shadow, down to a hair's width, for any regular surface, in any given location. In my youth, I invented a way to accomplish this feat by determining how, using any horizontal dial, like a dial on a floor, a mural dial, a wall dial, or a equinoctial dial, which is a tilted dial, at any given hour, provided the sun is shining, to determine the sign and degree ascendant. Man's affairs often require the knowledge of time at moments when neither the sun, moon, nor stars can be seen. So, industrious mechanics invented a way to keep track of time using a consistent flow of water. Vitruvius rightfully praises to the skies the famous inventor Ctesibius. He was the one who invented the water clock. Later, hours were measured by running sand, then using gears and by weights, and lately, using gears without weights, using a spring instead. But all these methods require corrections over time, because of the inaccuracy of their own operation. But there remains among the philosophers a more excellent, a more commodious, a more marvelous way than all these to imitate the motion of the primuvant, or the first equinoctial motion, by using nature and art, which you shall understand more of by further search in weightier studies. And in the margin Dee writes, a perpetual motion. Well, it's pretty apparent here that Dee is referring to a camera obscura solar disk calendar room here. Why doesn't he just come right out and explain it? Well, Dee lived in paranoid times. If word got around London that he had images of people walking, and horse carts driving, and clouds blowing, and sun creeping around the inside walls of his house, he would have been branded as a conjurer, and scorned by what he calls the vulgar. Between the arts of horometry and architecture, in Dee's preface to Euclid, Dee writes about zoography, his coined term for painting from life. Zo means life. Within the art of zoography, Dee includes a certain odd art called ophthalmosat, which he claims is more useful than most painters and engravers in England realize. In Greek, thalamos means a room or a chamber. Ophthalmosat is Dee's cryptic coined term for a camera obscura. Dee also makes a cryptic reference to the camera obscura in his advice to astronomers. And won't the astronomer regret his sleepless vigils and cold labors he has suffered under the open sky, when here, without any discomfort from the air, under his own roof, with windows and doors shut on all sides, at any given time he is able to observe the movements of the heavenly bodies, and indeed without any mechanical instruments made from wood or brass? He's certainly referring to a camera obscura solar disk calendar room there. Why would Dee have built the tower to be a horologium? Well, in Italy, Renaissance astronomers like Ignazio Dante were transforming cathedrals into giant camera obscura calendar rooms. They placed a small hole at the top of the church and inlaid a metal north-south meridiana line on the floor. Here, this one is in Rome, and this one is in Bologna. In these cathedral horologiums, they would track where the sun crossed the meridiana line every day at noon. and every day throughout the year. The astronomers could physically demonstrate to the church authorities that the Julian calendar, created by Julius Caesar in 45 BC, had become out of sync with the sun by 10 days. Pope Gregory eliminated 10 days from the calendar and instituted the Gregorian calendar reform of 1582 to ensure that the calendar would stay in sync with the sun.